Good Monday morning here. My name is Scott Stanfield. This is It's My Friday, and I am a modern longevitarian. I want to start off by saying thank you to my broadcast partners over at Spirituality Gone Wild, and I'm so excited to be part of their network in this show. Welcome to everybody who are streaming on LinkedIn and Facebook and YouTube, and here we go. Today's episode is going to be about a book that I wrote. It's called Outstanding Landing, How to Get the Sleep of Your Dreams. And I'm going to go through little bits on each chapter. And so you can go and this is a little teaser, so you can go download this. But this is by far the most important piece of the puzzle when it comes to your health. By far the most important piece of the puzzle. Let me show you what the cover of the book looks like here. And so, it's on top of my face. Look at that. Outstanding Landing. Good morning. Wake up, rise and shine. How to get the sleep of your dreams, right? And I'll be taking questions either throughout, depending on what they are and how pertinent to where they are for the actual show, or if they are, or if it's something that we can, or towards the end. Either way. So let's start at the beginning of this, really. And it comes down to mindset. So your mindset around sleep. Now that's really kind of an interesting piece of the puzzle. Now let me put up a couple of these comments. Today's beautiful. And let's see here. We've got Robert Towner. Good, great Monday morning. So great Monday morning. Hello, folks. Thanks for chiming in. We also put this up here. This is where you can go and download the book as well. So I'm just going to put that up there. So that way I don't have to repeat it over and over and over again, but you can go to that. It was sleep.strongforlonger.com. And that'll give you a chance to download the book for free. All you gotta do is give me your email address. All right. First thing, mindset and sleep. Oh my gosh. It's a game changer for me was when I decided that my new day started when I went to sleep. Because what happened was if I worked too much during the day or had too much things going on, and I felt like I deserved staying up late because I wanted to do something in that day, I was like, well, my day starts when I go to sleep. And so when I wake up 7 or 8 hours later, hold on, I'm writing down a note because I want to make sure I don't forget that later. Sleep type. It's really an important thing to just to set your mindset up around sleep, because do this, right? Do this. You can fast, right? For Jesus Christ and David Blaine fasted for 40 days. So food's not that important. That's why fuel is down as the fifth pillar of the modern longevitarian, right? You can go 3 or 7 days without water. So water is more important than food, and your air is more important. But I want you to do this. You can skip eating food for a day and you're fine. Okay. You can skip your workout. You'll be fine. Right. Try staying up all night. How are you going to be in the morning? Oh man, you're going to be just a wreck. Your nervous system's going to be a wreck. You're going to be hungry. You're going to be cranky. You're just all craving these crazy foods, just eating all day long, just, blah, 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 just nuts. Now, the reason I know this is because when I worked at the Hilton downtown Salt Lake City, I got promoted to director of restaurants, and they told me that I had to work in both restaurants, the breakfast and the dinner restaurant, 2 days a week. My Monday and Tuesday, which were Tuesday and Wednesday, I would open the breakfast restaurant. I would get to work at 5:30 in the morning. So coming from Park City, I had to leave here at 5 o'clock in the morning. I would, then had to get up before that and do my whole morning routine. Well, it was like take a shower and go. That's all my morning routine was in, right? Then my Wednesday, my third day of my work week, I got to work at 10:30 in the morning. And then my Thursday and Friday, I got to work at 3:30 in the afternoon, and I closed down the bar. I was getting home at 3 o'clock in the morning. So I was basically going to bed at the same time that I was getting up just 4 days earlier and 5 days earlier. And so my day off, I slept like crazy. Now in 6 weeks, I gained 35 pounds in 6 weeks. And that's why I had to lose 40 pounds the second time, is because of my sleep was totally jacked. Right. So understanding that your sleep patterns are really, really, really what is a cornerstone, the foundation to your health span, your health today, your wellness tomorrow, your health span, which is a really cool word because that and your lifespan. Sleep is so important. And I've seen memes out lately, and my wife can relate to this, is that I don't want to sleep like a baby. I want to sleep like my husband because sometimes women and some men even have this, when you have kids in the house, right? You don't sleep as good because you want to, they may wake up or hear something go bump in the night, those type of things. So it's hard. And we also logically will just, whittle down. It's like even Kobe Bryant, and I quoted him in the book, right? He actually said this, and I'm paraphrasing right now because I don't have the book right in front of me. He said, I realized one day that the reason I wasn't playing good in the games wasn't because I wasn't practicing. It wasn't because of all these other things, because I wasn't sleeping. So what happened is Kobe said, my practice is super important and my gym time is super important. And so my family's super important. So he ended up getting to 2 to 3 hours of sleep at night. And he lived in Orange County, and he was commuting by helicopter up to LA for a lot of these things. But he also wanted to take the kids to school and pick them up in the afternoon. So it was like he was cramming all these things in. And then he realized, hey, Kobe, you're not 21 years anymore. You're not a teenager anymore. You got to get sleep. And so he had to prioritize his sleep. And that's when things started really coming together for Kobe. And putting together his Mamba mentality and all those type of things really fit into that. And so I really want you to understand that your mindset around sleep is not to logically whittle away at it saying, hey, I need to get up in the morning earlier and cut off my sleep to get this done. Or I need to stay up later to get this done. I mean, you can do it on occasion, but you won't build any positive momentum in your health if you're not getting the right amount of sleep. All right. So mindset. The second thing is around sleep is actually setting up your bedroom for success. There are the reasons why the cover of this book are the colors they are, is that these are the best colors for relaxation and sleep. Hi, how are you? Right. Which are this light baby blue and this light gray are the best colors. The worst color that you ever could have in your bedroom, or like the color of this room I'm in right now, yellow, and then also red, right? Because they are very stimulating. So you also want to pay attention to 65 degrees is the best temperature to sleep in. Your body cools down while you actually sleep. So that's the best temperature. So you want the environment, right? So what do you feel? You feel the temperature. What do you hear, right? When I was working in Santa Monica, I stayed the room that I rented. Somebody would let their dog out every morning at 7 a.m. I was, working till 10 at night. And so 7 a.m. was, it would wake me up with the dog barking. And then when the wind blew, there was a tree that hit right outside my window, right? Things like that. So there's sounds. So you can use sound machines, you can use music, you can use meditation, things like that. And I listed all of this stuff, in the book, right? All the different types of things. And I love the way that, when I say modern, right? Because I'm comparing myself, I was born in 1972, but TVs actually have sleep timers on it. So if you need a television on to fall asleep, and some people do, just turn the timer on so it won't wake you up, down the road, right? And or actually as you're falling asleep. And so really pay attention to your environment, because that's super, super important. White noise can help. And because especially with babies, right? Because they have spent 9 months inside a female human that is really loud, right? And I actually quoted the number of decibels there are inside the womb, right? And so what happens is we try to make things super quiet. Or if you're like me, my left ear rings 24/7 for years, probably over 20 years. And so I want some sort of sound that is going on to kind of drown that out, right? Because that ringing kind of drives me crazy sometimes. That's why I listen to music when I work. That's why I listen to podcasts from time to time. There's all these things going on, and it's really, really a cool thing when it comes to sound and your environment and all those things. Because if you get it right, man, you can sleep really good. Those comfortable days are perfect. You never want to get out of bed. What if you could have that every single night? Now, of all these 7 chapters, I think one of the most important pieces of the puzzle is actually knowing your sleep type. And I put a link in the book right, to Dr. Michael Bruce. He's a PhD. He's called the Sleep Doctor. And his link to his website is called thepowerofwhenquiz.com. And it's this free quiz that you can take that will tell you what your sleep type is. Now, we've traditionally known the sleep types to be like an early bird and a night owl. We kind of know these two. The third one was called a hummingbird because they kind of move all during the day. Now, what actually Dr. Michael Bruce did is he broke this down into 4 sleep types, and he correlated with animals that have the same sleep type as what you've been, what your natural rhythms are, right? Because you want to tap into your natural rhythms of sleep. And so when I get into this, I really want you to understand is that it's just because somebody comes out with a book or they post on Instagram or Facebook or wherever you keep up with them, that they get up at 4:32 in the morning, Jocko Willink, or you got to get up at 5 a.m. and do those type of things. That's great for them, right? That's perfect for them because they're an early bird, or what Michael Bruce would call a lion, right? And so that's super, super amazing for that to happen for them, and they tap into their own sleep type. But if you're like me and you're a night owl, or what Michael Bruce calls a wolf, getting up at 4:30 in the morning I was up till 3 o'clock the other morning, just reading because I couldn't sleep. I was wide awake, right? So I'm giving you permission to find out what your natural sleep type is. And you can do that by going to this link, and you answer, it's 2 minutes. You answer these questions. Then there'll be a video at the end, and it tells you the best times to do things like have coffee, to make love, right? To exercise for weight loss, to exercise for performance, right? It gives you all these different pieces of the puzzle based off your sleep type. The 4 sleep types are lion, bears, wolf is the night owl, and then there is the dolphin, which is kind of like the insomniac person that they don't really have a true time that they sleep and things like that. So the lion gets their kill before dawn. I love this that he does, and I give him 147% credit on this. And I had to put this in the book because it's so important, because my whole, thing about longevity and health and lifespan, health span, and all those things, that you have to find your own way and to express your genes as best as possible. It's not about a one size fits all, right? I'm going to do Wednesday's show is going to be on keto, but keto may not be for you. Some people gain weight when they're in ketosis, right? And so it may not work for you specifically, but you have to test it and find if this works. Back to sleep type. Sleep type is this. And so you feel out this, I'm a wolf, right? Which means I like to stay up late, right? So that means I'm not hungry in the morning. So I intermittent fast in the morning. I skip breakfast, have a late lunch, right? If you're an early bird, you may be hungry in the morning, right? And then you are able to, not only, excuse me, let me turn my phone over so I won't see it popping up and flashing. Sorry about that. If you're an early bird, you're hungry in the morning. Like my friend Bob Wholesale, 78 years old. He fasts, he's keto, he's all these different things. And he actually he eats breakfast. He eats at 2 o'clock and doesn't eat dinner. So find what works for you. Hey, Jason, how's it going, man? Good to see you. Yeah, keto's not for you. So you don't have to watch Wednesday's show then, because I'm going to go how to get into ketosis. But Jason's my friend. He's actually got the thoracic mobility bar. He's on a Kickstarter right now. And he's crushing. We actually went on a hike with Kevin Rail the other day. They've both been guests on the show. So Jason and I have known each other for almost 6 years now, and super cool that you're watching in. But my point is this: tapping into your natural rhythms will tell you when you're supposed to do all these things. So instead of guessing or following somebody else's formula, find out what your natural rhythms are and then tap into that, so you can then, and by the way, Jason's is opposite as me as well. He wakes up, he's at the gym. He's the first one at the gym every day, early bird, all those type of things, right? But can go on forever. So he may be a dolphin, right? He may be, I don't know exactly what his sleep type is, but I definitely know he's an early morning kind of guy, right? And gets a lot of stuff done in the morning, where I'll stay up late and get those things done that way. But my point is this: tap into your natural rhythms. Go to that website, find your rhythms, your natural sleep type, and then tap into what works best for you. Okay. The next piece of this is putting down the title of the chapter is putting down your landing gear, which basically is a nighttime routine, right? So your nighttime routine is super, super important, because imagine this, and this is how I describe it in the book. You know, you buy a computer and it's lightning fast in the beginning, super, super fast. And then as time goes on, as you store more things on the computer, it slows down. Maybe you had a virus, you had to take that off. You got all these programs running in the background, and it's just slow. It's just super, super slow now. And that's what happens if you do these things that will impair your sleep, right? Because these processes are running in the background. So the first one is if you eat too close to bedtime. Now, what happens is that I'd never give a time, you know, like some people say, hey, don't eat after 7:00. Well, that may work if you're an early bird, right? If you are up early in the morning and you're jacked up and you're ready to go, well, you may be going to bed at like 9:30, 10:00, right? So that's your 2-hour window. But if you go to bed like me, like if I'm a night owl, right? I'm using the two extremes as an example, right? If you are, you know, I may eat sometimes up to 9:00, but I won't go to bed. The earliest I go to bed is 11. Occasionally, if I'm tired, I go to bed at 10:30. 11 to 12 is my window to go to sleep. So 2 hours, maybe 3 hours before bed is when I stop eating. So 9:00. So it's hard for me to stop eating. And so my intermittent fasting window, if I know I'm going to eat till 9, okay, I'm going to eat it for an 8-hour window. That means the earliest that I could eat would be 1:00. Right. So if I don't eat till 2, I have a 7-hour window. If I push it to 4, I have a 5-hour window. If I push it to 5 or 6, my window gets really smaller and smaller. So now, because I know my sleep type, I then know when I'm going to stop eating 2 hours before I go to bed. And now I know when I can start eating. So that's what happens. And so you can reverse engineer this. By the way, in the last page of the book, Outstanding Landing, there's actually a checklist that you can put all these things in to help you develop your own routine that works best for you. So just print the last page of the book off and read the rest of it online if you don't want to, spend the money on the ink or all those type of things. And that way you can fill these things out and check these boxes and know when to stop doing things. Now, the most interesting one for this putting down your landing gear is caffeine. Most caffeine consumed here in America is in coffee, but around the world, 98% is a combination of tea and coffee. And, coffee or caffeine has a half-life of 6 to 8 hours, meaning that 8 hours later, 50% of that caffeine is still pumping through your veins, right? So let's say you go to Starbucks and you have, you have like just a normal drip coffee. You're going to have about in a Starbucks, what the research shows, about 150 milligrams of caffeine in that cup of coffee. And so 75, that means 75 milligrams is still going to be in your veins 8 hours later. So if you were a restaurant manager like me and you were tired because you got up early or you're having a long week or something like that, and you say, hey, I need to make it through this dinner shift, and you have a cup of coffee at 6:00 in the evening, do the math. 6 hours later is midnight, right? You still got half of that. 2 a.m., you still got half of that caffeine in your system. That's nuts if you're trying to lay down and go to sleep. So when I did the research for writing this book, I basically said, I'm not going to have any more caffeine after 12:00, even though the best time for my sleep type is 2:30 in the afternoon. And I get that, but I really wanted to be able to fall asleep. And so so just understand is like, if you're an early bird, you would never, ever, ever want to have a cup of coffee late in the afternoon, right? Because that would actually just totally disrupt your whole falling asleep piece of the puzzle. And, the other thing of this is about, it dehydrates you and that type of stuff, right? But caffeine is something that you really need to pay attention to. And the best thing about, well, not the best thing, but an interesting thing, and this is where even Dr. Michael Bruce, the sleep doctor, says this is where I lose everybody when it comes to coffee. I've seen this in 2 or 3 places, and I haven't been able to tap into this yet, which is the best time to have coffee is 90 minutes after you wake up. The process of making coffee for me, actually, it tells my system that it's time to wake up because I'm having coffee in the morning. And so I had my cup of coffee this morning, did breathing exercises. I meditated. I took a cold shower, right? I'll have another cup of coffee right after the show. And I'll probably work out. And then I will, and then I'll be done with my coffee for the day. And then I'll just drink water the rest of the day. And so caffeine stopping 6 to 8 hours, maybe even 10 hours before your bedtime, drinking that. Stop eating 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed. Okay. Based off your sleep type. And then, Another really cool piece of this is blue light, right? And exercise. Those are the thing. Blue light from your device, right? One of these things or whatever you're watching, right? Because I have these glasses I put on in the afternoon, and I have when I'm on my computer, my phone, in evening watching TV. Blue light, there's a study done that showed even 1 hour before bedtime can disrupt melatonin production. And melatonin is actually the hormone that helps you sleep. It also fights cancer and all these other things. So some people, when I put this out in the world, it's like, oh my gosh, I just like on my phone and then I just put it down and I go to sleep. Well, you may sleep and you may fall asleep because you're tired, but you're not getting the best sleep if you're actually allowing blue light into your eyes, because blue light receptors, well, are basically tell your body to wake up. I don't know if you know this or not, but blue light is actually in the rising sun, and there's no blue light or very, very little in the setting sun. So it actually, like if you're jet lagged and you fly across the globe and you're somewhere, the best way to start eliminating this jet lag is to walk out, look into the sun for about, not stare into it, but look, be out in the sun for 15 minutes in the morning to tell your body when to turn off melatonin production. And then when there's the absence of blue light, it will increase melatonin production. So this is super important, especially in our world as we're addicted to our phones and our TVs, our devices, and all those type of things. And so I caution you to be aware of that. Even though you're falling asleep, you're probably not getting the very best sleep. Now, I mentioned exercise. There's two aspects to exercise. There's intense exercise, and there's moderate exercise. Moderate exercise, even within the hour before going to sleep, can actually help you sleep. And what I do as right before I go to bed is I do like a 10-minute stretching where I'm stretching my hips, and which means I'm stretching my groin muscles, or adductors as they're called. I'm stretching abductors, which are the like IT bands on the outside. I'm stretching my quads, my psoas muscle. I'm stretching my hip flexors. I'm also stretching my hamstrings, my lower back. So everything connected to my hips, it's 360 degrees up and down. I'm stretching all of that stuff because that's typically where men and I do personally struggle with flexibility. And so those are the things. And as we get older, and so I'm embarking on, I'll be 49 next year. I'm 48 now. And so I want to maintain that flexibility throughout my health span as best I possibly can. So I do that. But intense exercise within the hour of going to sleep will actually disrupt or impair your sleep. So be wary of that. And so if you want to get your workout in, but just an intense workout schedule for that day or something like that, get it done earlier in the day. Don't do it later in the evening, or especially within an hour going to sleep if it's super intense. Now, one of in putting down your landing gear chapter, I think the most enlightening piece of the, next to caffeine, but one of the most enlightening piece of the whole piece of it is alcohol and alcohol consumption. Alcohol in America is the most used sleep aid, and because it helps people go to sleep. And I get it, Hi, Julie. How are you doing? Upstate New York. My wife's from Long Island, New York, and I spent some time in that state. So nice to see you. Thanks for joining in. And alcohol, number one sleep aid, because people drink it to go to sleep. Now, there was a study done in Finland of 4,098 people. Let's just round it up and call it 4,100 people. And what they did is they looked to see how much alcohol would impair their sleep. And so moderate consumption of alcohol impaired sleep by 24%. Heavy alcohol consumption before going to bed impaired sleep by over 32%. Now, there's multiple reasons why this happens, right? And one of them happens to do with hydration. And we can talk about that in a second, because this is a bonus section of the book. And I highly recommend you really pay attention to your net hydration. But back to this, you may feel that you're drinking caffeine or drinking alcohol and it's helping you go to sleep. And it is, but it's not helping you long-term as you're sleeping through the night, right? So stop drinking alcohol 2 to 3 hours before you go to sleep. So in order, okay, for this chapter, stop drinking caffeine 6 to 8, maybe 10 hours before you go to your bedtime. Okay. Then stop eating 2 to 3 hours before bedtime. Stop exercise 1 hour, intense exercise 1 hour before bedtime, and stop blue light The same thing with 1 hour before bedtime. And if I didn't mention it, alcohol at least 2, maybe 3 hours before bedtime. In Europe, in the blue zones, they have alcohol with dinner, and then dinner is, again, 2 to 3 hours. So if you have it, so this, nightcap or something to help you go to sleep, that's not the best, not the best scenario for you in terms of getting the best sleep or the sleep of your dreams, right? Which is what the whole subtitle of the book is. And now what I love is I'm going to tease one thing here, and I got a show tomorrow. Kristen O is going to be on. She's part of the Spirituality Gone Wild network as well. She has a show that airs, I think it's on Tuesday nights, and she's going to be on the show tomorrow. And we're going to talk about gratitude, forgiveness, connecting to the source. She's also an avid intermittent faster, so we can talk about that as well. I'm super excited. So if you're seeing this, tune in. Kristen's going to be on the show, and it's going to be fun. We're going to really get to know each other, and we're going to really, it's going to be great. So just tune in. So that's that. So the book is Outstanding Landing, comes from a quote from Chuck Yeager, which in my day was like one of these daredevils that would broke the speed of sound in a airplane and astronaut kind of guy and stuff like that. And he said, a good landing is one where you survive, and an outstanding landing is where you can take off again tomorrow. And that's what I really want you to do, is that a good night's sleep is one where you actually are okay. But if you really want to take flight tomorrow and really crush it, I want you to really, really pay attention to all these things. And so, all right. So Julie just came in, or this is, and I'll talk to you about this. Great tips. Need this so bad. Do not sleep at all. Only had 2 hours last night. Thank you. Now, Julie, this is something that's not in the book, but something I've actually practiced. It's called a polyphasic sleep cycle, right? Where it's where normally an 8-hour sleep or 7, 8, 9 hours sleep, and then you're up all day, is 2 phases. So they call that biphasic sleep cycle. So a polyphasic sleep cycle is where you actually do, and Thomas Edison did this, Da Vinci did this. I think even Einstein did this from time to time. And I've played around with it, but I could never find an employer that was okay with me taking a nap while I was at work, right? Even though it could have been on my break or any of those things, they kind of frowned upon it because we expect people just to work all the time in here in America. And there's no siestas in our culture, right? So you would sleep for 4 hours, and then every 6 hours, take a 30-minute nap. Now, if you miss one of these naps, you're going to be crushed, right? So in a situation like this, Julie, when I was a director of food and beverage at a hotel here in Park City, I would sometimes have to, maybe work in the restaurant, or I would work late doing a reception for a group coming in, and then they have an early morning breakfast, and I was scheduled to work the breakfast too. And so I had this close open scenario where I would have to wind down, go to sleep, get up early in the morning, be groggy, have a headache, not, trying to dehydrated, all these type of things. But I knew one thing, that I wanted to be present with my family when I got home. So I would take a nap. I would make sure before I left work or in my car, I would take a nap, a power nap. And there's these really cool power nap with alarms and some binaural beats, things that can wake you up, that are that are on YouTube for free. So just search power nap, 20-minute power nap or something like that if you need that. But just tap into taking a nap. That way you can stay fresh throughout the day. So there is a solution for you with that. So let's get into the next piece of the puzzle, because the next chapter is called Clear the Runway. A lot of people can't sleep because what's going through their brain, right? It's just your brain's just going on and on and on and on. And so basically you can meditate. And I do that a lot. I'm a transcendental meditator twice a day. So meditating will actually help clear your mind. You have to be careful and not do it too long, because it will give you a boost of energy. So you have to short it if you're doing it really late, if you're not able to do it mid-afternoon. Another way and I did this for years, even as in my late teens, early 20s, when I was racing go-karts, I would have these ideas that come to me about setups and tire pressures and gear ratios and driving techniques and things like that. And I would actually just have a notebook on my nightstand, and I would just write all these things. Because I was afraid I was going to forget them if I fell asleep. So if I wrote them down, I was able to fall asleep. So you just got to purge what's in your mind, right? Just get it out, right? And it may be worried about something that a long-term solution or things like that. Just write down, one thing that you can do tomorrow to get closer to solving that problem. So if you're anxious right? Don't take any medication. I'm just saying, I don't take any medication. You can do what you need to do, right? And do what's best for you. But I don't prescribe anything. I'm not a doctor. I'm not any of that stuff. This is all the stuff that I've done research on over the years about how to get the best sleep. And I just want you to understand that, that if you're anxious, right, you're worried about the future. If you're depressed, you're living in the past. If you're happy, you're living in the present, right? And there's times that you can do things about it. But if it's 11 o'clock at night and there's something in the company's closed that you need to call about something, then there's nothing you can do about it. There's no need to worry about it, right? So just clear those things from your mind in whatever technique you need to do. And I'm going to give you a breathing technique here that was in the last chapter of the book that can help you with that. So clearing the runway is super, super important for you to get the best sleep of your night, because if you're worried about something or excited about something, it's difficult to fall asleep. And so then going and drinking alcohol to fall asleep to take the edge off is not the right thing to do as well. I promised you about the bonus section on the net hydration. Let me put that down so I can cover that. If you got to run, as people on LinkedIn do a lot of times because they're working, just go to the website sleep.strongforlonger.com and download the book so you can get the rest of this. Okay. Breathing. James Nestor just came out with a really cool book called Breathe, the new science behind the lost art. And it's amazing. Now, he actually participated in a study because he couldn't find anybody really to volunteer for this. And he and one of the doctors that he worked with in the book, they plugged their nose closed, 100% closed for 10 days. And they did all these sleep studies on them while they're sleeping. Prior to plugging his nose closed, he snored for 4 minutes a night. After his nose was plugged, he actually started snoring after 3 days. He was up to 4 hours of snoring and developed sleep apnea, and his nervous system was a wreck. So breathing through your nose, nasal breathing, as your body was designed. I don't care if you think it's God or the universe or evolution or Darwinism or whatever. Our bodies were designed for us to breathe through their nose. I actually saw Patrick McKeon of the Boteco Breathing Institute in Ireland posted today. There's a new study that nitric oxide, which is released by nasal breathing into your system, it actually can help fight COVID-19. And a new study just came out. And that was just fresh out this morning, not in the book, just saw this morning on Instagram as I was just checking that. That's super cool, right? Now, here's the thing. 50% of American children are mouth breathers, and over 70% of American adults breathe through their mouth. I was one of them. So what I do is, and there's a link in the book to you to go to Somnifix, which is where, and this is an affiliate link. I make a couple pennies off that, help support the show, buy some groceries for the family. My son's 18. We got to buy a lot of groceries, right? So anyway, mouth strips. I actually tape my mouth shut for over 2 years. That forces me to sleep, to breathe through my nose while I'm sleeping. And it subconsciously trains me to breathe through my nose during the day. And sometimes this is a struggle when you're backing up and forcing yourself to breathe through your nose, where you may not be able to perform together on a hike up a mountain with two super fit guys like last Friday or something like that. It forces you to use your body as it's designed. And there's like, your nose has 30 to 40, and some believe even up to 40 different functions that allows you to do that. So, and what James Nestor's quote is, and I quoted this on the page, it says, if you are not breathing through your nose while you're sleeping, you'll never be healthy. So, so what happens is, I don't know why, this is a funny thing, right? You know, when people wear the mask and they got their nose hanging out, right, like this, and people are complaining, only 30% of adults actually breathe through their nose, right? So there's a 70% chance that person wearing it like this is actually filtering everything because they're breathing through their mouth anyway. You just can't see it, right? And so just understand that this is super, super important. It changed my life. I consider this being one of the very top biohacks I've ever done in my entire life. And I've done a lot, and I've self-tested on myself tons, right? And that is taping my mouth closed at night. And so it's super, super important for you to pay attention to this, because if you're breathing through your mouth using the CPAP machine and all those type of things, right? And I love, it's not helping you. What happened is, after 3 days of breathing through my nose while I was sleeping, it was like I had surgery And I would, and my to open my sinuses up, and I had completely healed 100%. Even when I clean my ears out with a Q-tip, which you're not supposed to do according to the instructions. I don't know what else a Q-tip is designed for, though. Can't figure that out in my almost 50 years. I could tell my ear canals were larger, especially my left side, which is where I've struggled with this chronic sinus infection my entire life. The sleep apnea that I had vanished, right? It's just amazing. And here's the biggest thing. 50% of the people who actually tape their mouth shut and switch from being a mouth breather to a nose breather, then their actual sense of taste enhances dramatically. This happened to me. For someone who'd been a foodie or as a foodie and as in the restaurant business at the time this happened, absolutely amazing experience. So this has been over 2 years for me. Getting up to 2.5 years I've been doing this. Patrick McKeon, who wrote a book called Shut Your Mouth, has been doing it for over 25 years. So, and I love a quote from him. It said, he had surgery on his nose, but nobody told him to breathe through it. So I'm telling you right now, if you're a mouth breather, you transitioning over to be a nose breather is super, super important. The time of, hold on, I'll show you real quick. I use Somnifix. All right, I'm back. There you go. Somnifix. You can see that. This is what I use. Okay. They were on Shark Tank, and I have an affiliate link in the book. If you want to go and download the book, it'll have it in there in that chapter about where you can go and just click on it and buy them. And there's a discount code in there as well. So that's the best place to get those, because you want to get a discount code if you just go straight to the website or to Amazon. So 10% off if you put in my code that's in the book. Enough plugging that stuff. All right. But that's super, super important. My wife loves it more than I do. I don't snore anymore, those things, but it's enhanced my cardio in ways that I've never imagined it would. Okay. And then and then how can you give your body, your nervous system, a natural tranquilizer? Well, it's through breathing, actually. So continuing on the breath thing here. There's 3 categories of breathing. Now, breathing is normally automatic, right? And so let's do a little simple test here. If you're still with me here, and that's just take a deep breath through your mouth, okay? You see how my chest is going up and down like that? Well, it's an upper chest breath, right? Is when it's through your mouth. Now, just for a test, breathe in through your nose deeply. So what happens is you start using your diaphragm and you start breathing in deeper into your belly, right? And what happens is your rib cage is expanding out that way versus, and my chest only moves at the very end after the bottom fills up. Now, interesting thing, you notice my voice got calmer, right? Because I'm breathing through my nose. It's sending a message to my nervous system that everything is okay, right? I was rewatching Top Gun the other day. In the very opening scene when they have the dogfight and Merlin doesn't come back to the ship and he's got freaked out and Maverick has to go back and save him. And I'm dating myself because, of the movie, but I never noticed this before. When Merlin's super freaked out, he can't breathe. He takes his mask off and he's like, so Hollywood's got it right. When our nervous system is freaked out, we're mouth breathers. Right. But when we're super calm, collected, cool as a cucumber, emotionally intelligent, is off the charts high, breathing through our nose. Okay. So normally breathing is automatic, but understand that it's sending messages to your nervous system. Okay. Sending messages to your nervous system, whether you're breathing through your mouth, which takes you to your sympathetic, which is your stress, fight or flight, or breathing through your nose, which sends you to this parasympathetic, which is actually your productive, rest, relax, digestion, everything is health just happens naturally type scenario. So if you're breathing through your mouth for 8 hours a night while you're sleeping, or 2 hours in terms of Julie's case here, you're sending the message that you're stressed the whole time. Cortisol spikes, insulin spikes, all these things are happening. You'll never lose weight because your insulin's high with this cortisol insulin piece of the puzzle happening because of the stress you're sending your system. So there's 3 types of breathing, that 3 categories of breathing. I'll call it upshift, neutral, and downshift, right? So an upshift would be something where you're doing 20 or more breaths per minute. Neutral is what you can do with a 4x4 box breath, where you inhale for 4 through your nose, you hold that for 4 through your nose, you then exhale for, you hold it for 4, and then you exhale for 4, then you hold for 4, and then you repeat that 2 or 3 times. So that's like that's like a balanced breath that you can do all during the day. And then there's a calming breath that actually Dr. Wheel and it comes from yoga, that will actually acts like a natural nervous system tranquilizer. And what do you do? So it's called a 4-7-8. So let's do the math. 4 plus 7, that's 11, plus 8, that's 19 seconds. So basically you're doing 3 breaths per minute when you do this. And you do this 2 or 3 times, and you easily could fall asleep in just minutes, because it's telling your nervous system that everything's okay. And the key to this type of breath is understanding that your exhale needs to be double the length of your inhale. Okay. That's the key to this. And you have this 7-second hold in the middle. So that's why when you sit down to meditate, if you do that they have you do this inhale and then exhale slowly, right? Because we're so jazzed and up all day long, drinking cups of coffee, didn't sleep right, and all that stuff. They just want to get us to where we calm down, right? Then, or if you, you go to a yoga class, right? They get you to do the same thing, inhale and then exhale slowly. I even saw this product that's online, and I don't know the name of it, and I don't endorse it on any of those things, where it's like, goes like a little dog whistle, where it actually forces you to exhale through this, and it's a little small hole to exhale slowly. So the secret's in the exhale, right? We can inhale for 4 seconds all day long, but the secret is in the length of the exhale and then how fast it happens, right? Because if you're holding for 7 and then exhaling for 8, 3 breaths per minute, right? And you do that will send this system a message to your system that everything is bueno. Okay. So let's do it real quick. Okay. And then we'll wrap this up. We'll talk about net hydration. So inhale for 4. Ready? Hold for 7. And then exhale for 8. Ready? Okay. You do that 2 or 3 times, it would just, I'm calmer now just by doing it. Julie, you're welcome. It's super important to breathe nasal breathing. Just look at the studies. It's something that's really coming out. Also, even like people like Tony Riddle, the natural lifestylist, talks about it. He's a barefoot runner who ran across the entire island of England in 30, he did 30 miles a day, 30 days in a row on average, right? Barefoot. And he runs nasal breathing. It's super important to really tap into this. And it's my pleasure. And I hope this really helps. If you got any questions, reach out to me. I can help you. Now, hydration. Hydration is the same thing. Like earlier, Jason said, keto's not for me, right? Or if somebody says you got to get up at 5 a.m., right? We are hit and bombarded with these silver bullet, magic bullet solutions. One size fits most, one size fits all, and it doesn't work, right? The same thing happens with hydration. We all know that we're supposed to drink 8 cups of water a day. And that's probably for most people just perfectly fine, right? But it may be not, right? Because what happens is, I don't know if you know this or not, but if you drink alcohol, it increases your urine production 10-fold, right? You've ever heard breaking the seal? That's what happens is your body sees alcohol as a toxin and it wants to get it out, right? And so what it does, because it's a liquid, is getting the liquid out that way. So so what happens is, and I use an app on my phone, it's called Drink Water app. And it actually, I put in my date or year I was born and my weight, and it tells me how much water I should be consuming. Right now, at the weight I'm at, it says I need to drink 121 ounces a day, net hydration. When I drink a cup of coffee, which I did this morning, and I put that in there, it only tells me that I absorb 80% of that coffee. Okay. So 20% is used to process the caffeine and those type of things. Dr. Pat Malone, which I've had on the live show just a couple of weeks ago. She was on podcast, Modern Longevitarian. She was episode 2 of the podcast. She actually said that when you drink a cup of coffee, if it is black coffee, you have to drink a cup of water to clear that from your liver. If you have cream, another glass of water to clear that. And if you have sugar, another cup of water to clear that. So it's this, and that's from a functional liver standpoint. But talking about net hydration, think about this: for every ounce of wine you drink, you have to drink 1.5 ounces to actually keep your net of water to keep your net hydration at the same level. If you drink a 6-ounce glass of wine, right? Or if you drink 2 glasses of wine or half a bottle, say a half a bottle, you drink 12, 13 ounces, right? Multiply that times 1.5, right? So one would be 12 and then another 6. You got to drink 18 ounces of water, just to, well, no, more than that. So 12 and a half. Yeah. So about 20 ounces of water to basically combat that loss of hydration. If you eat sugar, your body sees that as a toxin, and it also increases your urine production, right? So if you're having wine and dessert, right, or fruit with that, or champagne that is higher in sugar, or port that's higher in sugar, you're inducing 2 types of toxin releases that your body's trying to flush that out of, right? And so be careful with this, right? And hit your net hydration. So there's other things that dehydrate as well, obviously with exercising, lower electrolytes and those type of things. And salt is so important, and your electrolytes are so important, especially if you're on a ketogenic diet, because your body drops so much water weight in the beginning. And so it's lower on you. So getting hydrated is super important. If you want to learn about salt, just last week on Thursday, I interviewed Daryl Boschard from Redmond's Real Salt here in Utah, and went over all of the things that it takes for your hydration and things like that. And just recently, I started taking their Relight program, which is a non-sweetened powdered, and it uses their salt. It has 1,000 milligrams of sodium in it. It has magnesium, chloride, and potassium, all in this one supplement that you can take and mix with water. I've been taking that before I go to sleep, and I've been waking up feeling a lot better because your body's doing a lot of replenishing and things like that. And a lot of times if you're fasting or if you're hungry, your body's really not hungry, you're thirsty, and you are dehydrated, and you need electrolytes. And sometimes just putting some salt under your tongue, like a Redmond's Real Salt or some sort of other natural salt, if you happen to have that, a Celtic sea salt, Himalayan salt, something like that, put that under your tongue. And then what that does is actually will give you the electrolytes you need and satisfy you, because you really don't need to eat. A lot of times when my first cravings of the day are saltier foods, like roasted nuts with salt on them. When I was a heavy meat eater and working in restaurants, bacon was high on the list, those type of things. So that's why we crave these saltier foods, chips, nuts that have salt on them, bacon, that type of stuff, is because our body needs the electrolytes, and our body's craving electrolytes, but we attach that to food because we have these cravings. It's really an electrolyte you need, could be salt. And this is actually in the book as well. So salt, magnesium, and potassium. Potassium, if it comes from your diet, is super important. And you can get that from avocados. You can get that from bananas if you're a carb burner, and you can get that from coconut or coconut water, which has a lot of that. Is you buying supplements for potassium, really, there's some sort of FDA regulation that you can only get 99 milligrams per serving. So that's really kind of a tough thing to try to do. And I've never supplemented potassium other than in this Relight that I have this way. And so potassium is really important for more sore muscles and that type of stuff. So net hydration is full bonus section in the book that I crammed right in the middle of the Outstanding Landing chapter, because I wanted people really to understand how important hydration is. And so you're getting multiple pillars inside of this one book of the Modern Longevitarian, of the 8. Obviously, mindset's covered, breath is covered a lot in there, hydration's covered in there, sleep is covered in there. And so those are the things that are covered inside this book. And it's super, super important for you to tap into this. And I love Sean Stevenson's quote, which is, sleep is more important than diet and exercise combined. And so just the other day, somebody asked me a question, or asked the question on social, said, does everybody see this as, your health is 80% diet and 20% food? And I'm like, between the two of those, yes, but it's all these other things that matter. And sleep is by far the most important, even though it's 4th down the list, right? Sleep physically is the most important that you can do for your health. Mindset, having the right mindset, is the most important, but then the physical, breathing, hydration, sleep, fuel movement, getting uncomfortable, which is hot and cold exposure, and connecting with nature, your community, your family, your friends. Sleep is the one that if you don't get this right, you're screwed. You just simply are. So again, I just want to recap that. Go to and download this book, sleep.strongforlonger.com. Or it's also at modernlongevitarian.com/sleep. But Strong for Longer is a little bit easier to spell, right? So go there, pick up the book, get the discount code for the Somnifix, order it with the affiliate link. Also, I recommend if you want to learn more about hydration and electrolytes, listen to the show with Dosh Boshard. That was from last week, is in my feed, and I could put that link if anybody's interested in the notes after the show's over. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up here. Tomorrow's show, Christian O. Steve, yes, of the American Gumption morning show, has had Kristen on. She's going to be on again, I think, this Friday for him. And I've been on Steve's show, episodes, I think is 33, 46, and 55 of his show. I'm a huge fan of what Steve's doing over American Gumption, and his story and how he's helping people change in their life. But again, here's a picture of the book cover, what it looks like. And I want to just help everybody really understand that this is the most important thing that you can do for your sleep, for your health, is get the best sleep and the sleep of your dreams. Okay. All right, here we go. Got one more comment. Let's see what we got coming in. Julie says, thank you again. Julie, it's my pleasure. Let me get this book cover off of here. And again, I'm part of the Spirituality Gone Wild broadcast network. I'm so happy to be a co-creator and a partner with that team. There's so many things that are happening, with them. They're absolutely amazing, with Debbie G leading us there. But again, thanks for listening on LinkedIn. Thanks for listening on Facebook, YouTube, no matter where you are. And my name is Scott Stanfield. I am a modern longevitarian, and I want to just play this outro. Cheers.